Hello, Donna here. My channel is about transcending trauma. And today I want to talk about, I'm sorry, I'm totally dogging on myself because I am like kind of just woken up, sleepy eyes. But this isn't a channel about beauty. It's about overcoming trauma. So don't judge my face. We're not working on this. We're working on this. So, yeah. So when we live through trauma, we get instilled with a lot of patterns of behaviors. And I heard on this other channel about defying the narcissist rules, living in defiance of the narcissist. And I really love that. So I want to start a series of like all of the sort of rules the narcissist had and how to break free from them, to live in defiance of them. So one of them that I notice in self and definitely in recovery groups and notice it in others that have lived through narcissistic abuse is isolation. And it's there for so many reasons. One, of course, the narcissist isolated you because it made it easier to control you. So, and it's done so insidious, it's like, you might not even think that they were doing that. Sorry, I need some of my coffee. It starts out with just like, oh, but I want to be with you and I want to spend time. It's like this sort of guilt or this love bombing, that like, oh, I want to be with you. And I remember like in the height of my 14 years in captivity, um, going out with a neighbor friend to just up to the Walmart for the after Halloween sale. And she didn't know me like super well at the time. Arlene, love you if you watch ever. Um, but got to know me better later. But I had gone I don't even think we had gone an hour, and I got a phone call from him screaming at me and like her sort of shock, you know? And so but it was always excuses too, like you got to get home to the kids and yeah, like I don't know. There's always an excuse, there's an excuse or a guilt trip or something to create the isolation. And then, like this is where then we go along with that program, and I mean, mostly out of unconscious fear, we notice, our body, our nervous system notices when I connect to others, then I get my close tribe yells at me and or gives me the silent treatment or does things to hurt me. And so you just learn to live in that pattern. I also think a lot of the isolation comes from shame. We do what's that projective identification process and we identify with their shame and we carry it. And or even just the shame they put onto us when they do the devaluing and discarding, where they make you feel like this big. And this is part of overcoming for me, sharing these videos, um, that compulsive need to hide myself, like I'm not good enough to talk, I'm not good enough to have an opinion, I'm not good enough to, make a video, I'm not good enough to be seen in the world, I'm not good enough to connect to others. There's a lot of that, that projected shame onto us, and then we identify with it. So, yeah, so today I want to live in defiance of the narcissist and stop isolating. Like I always say everything's on a spectrum. Like, yes, sometimes being alone is wonderful. Sometimes we need that alone time, but like not always alone. And not some people can always be surrounded by people because they don't want to look at their internal stuff. And so there it's like a way of I can't think of the word. Uh what is the word? You're probably thinking of it as you're listening. Tell me the word. Um, distraction. So there we go. Just distracting self. But there's that really healthy balance, somewhere in between there. So, And also too, when you start to build a community, like fellowship, community, um, shitty behavior, like it's easier to walk away from someone that's mistreating you. When someone's mistreating you and they're the only ones in your life because of this strong longing to belong and being communal tribal people, it's very hard to leave. And then when you leave them, then you're all alone. There's nothing. So um when you build up a community of people and a fellowship and, people you can lean on and people that are safe and loving, um, it's a lot easier to see through dysfunctional behaviors and to not put up with them anymore. So, um, yeah, so I like it's funny, I just, like, get words in my head that just like, often when I wake up, that's the unconscious talking to me, like, to some words or a random word will just come into my head, but community had been coming into my head for a while, and, um, and I joined a church that I really love with really loving people, um, and we do things with them and fellowship, and you know, I personally, I took that path. I'm not here to tell anyone like what type of path to take other than community, like it can be, I'm a little diverse in my religions because we also go to a Buddhist temple where we meditate and I find fellowship there as well. So, just there's many places to find it. That's another thing. When we go through abuse, we lose like that right to choice, and that ability to see that we have choices and solutions out there. So to overcome the feelings of isolation and the self-isolation, like first of all, like just starting fellowship with safe people, like where you won't be so like I was just talking to someone this morning on a recovery site about them isolating themselves and they're on the dating apps and blah 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 and they're so disappointed and this is happening, that's happening. Like dating apps are not the place to find community, like I'm not, dating is wonderful, but like when you're coming out of trauma, if you're isolated and you go on dating apps, you're prone to meet another predatory type person. So, like, build a community first so that when you date, you can see the red flags. You're not so desperate for connection that you just overlook, dysfunctional behavior. You minimize it in your head and you look past it and everything. So, okay, so back to like, how do we find community? Yes, through churches. That's one option. Through hobbies, like look online, see like where there's like groups, like if you're into like planting things, then like my daughter joined a plant club, join a plant club and connect with people there. I had a friend that was in a running club and she met all these people. They went running together. Oh, I know someone, Jessica, shout out to you, online that's in a walking group. And, so then like you make connection there walking with people, I don't know, join an art studio, a music thing, any kind of hobby or even volunteer work. I volunteer I have before at a food pantry, and then I volunteer sometimes with my church doing the food pantry there. Like volunteer work, then you surround yourself with other loving, giving people. Um, there's a lot of healthy options, aside from dating apps to find connection. 12-step groups, they have them for many things, for CODA, for, Codependency Anonymous, for Al-Anon, like just, and those are people that are seeking recovery. So, those are like good places to make some connections and people that understand what you're going through. Um, you know, uh, yeah, like volunteering to something that like really you're passionate about, like maybe volunteering at like an animal shelter and, meeting people through there. And then, just not being afraid to connect because I know it's scary. It's scary after abuse. It's hard to trust people after, someone, it's like that betrayal trauma after someone that, you think you love and, you're bonded with that you think loves you and mistreats you. That's that betrayal trauma. It's hard to trust, but you just dip your toe in and, and that's the other thing too. Like, trust is earned and you're safe. Like, you don't just like allow people into your immediate inner circle, that's another thing too. We become very transparent because the narcissistic abuser always accused us of that's that projection of lying because they're lying. So you feel like you have to be so open and transparent and to prove that you're not the monster they say you are. And that's dangerous because, like, that's how predators get in. Like, it's great to be vulnerable, but with borders, with boundaries. And, trust is built over time. So, you know, looking at someone as someone to possibly trust and allowing them to unfold before you and show you how they are and what behaviors they have, and being honest, when you see that repetition, that behavior you've noticed in the abusers of the past, don't don't discredit that, honor that. You don't have to point it out in them. They most likely can't see it. A lot of it is very unconscious. Just start, building space, you know, between you and that person. The more you get to know the behaviors and that, the more you can kind of see them right away. So you haven't already allowed them into your inner circle. And just learning stuff like that too that I never knew. Like, um, I don't have to fight, with someone about their behavior or explain it to them. I can just notice it and acknowledge it. And then I can create distance by now, if they reach out to me, they're not my top priority anymore. I'm not like, I most likely people like that lose interest. They want that emotional dumping ground. So, you just put the space there, and I'm not saying ghost someone, I'm saying you don't jump the second they call or message, and you don't make them a top priority, and you'll see, like, a healthy person will be okay with that, and they'll allow the slow unfolding of trust to develop. An unhealthy person will not like that. They want all in. They want all in. They want you to put down your guards. They want you to just auto trust, so, just having those healthy boundaries and noticing the behavior, and you don't need to be afraid to meet people again because you take it slow, and when you notice behaviors, you trust yourself and you build up that community. So when one relationship fails, you already have many others, So just take it slow and get yourself back out there. So we are going to defy the narcissist. We're going to defy the rules, and we're going to stop isolating, and we're going to start connecting again. Here's to defying the narcissist. Peace out.